Panther people, what up? Thanks for clicking on Panthers Post. I'm Phil Perkins, and if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Join in on the comment community. Let us know how you feel so far about the Panthers heading into this year, and especially what you like so far, what you're seeing at a training camp. This is our first foray into training camp and covering the Carolina Panthers as they enter the 2021-2022 season. I personally am very hype about this team, and it looks like the players a little too hype. We're going to talk about that a little later. Also, I want to be completely upfront with everybody. As you can tell, I am not in Spartanburg, South Carolina. If you're new here, I am from Toronto. So we're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I am not there. I wish I was covering training camp, maybe down the line. That is a professional goal of mine, to cover training camp the same way our boys over at PNP are doing so. So my observations from training camp are completely dependent on what the beat reporters say out there, what PNP says. Guys like Daniel Jeremiah, if he's watching practice from afar, whoever. The NFL Network has this whole gigantic event out of this, getting back together Saturday or something like that. They have NFL Network reporters at each training camp to break down what they see. So what they see is what I see, and then that's what I'm going to be breaking down. Now, earlier I mentioned about hype. I'm super hyped. The fans are hyped. The players are hyped. And according to Joe Person from The Athletic, according to Coach Matt Rule, everyone was just a little too hype over Saturday night's open practice to the public. There's about 4,000 people in attendance at Wofford College, and according to Person, Matt Rule had to actually stop practice at one point, stop it short because guys were just getting too physical.
I was not happy at the end because we're doing too many things tonight that we don't normally do, and you got to be the same guy every day, and our best players, they're the same on Wednesday as they are on Sundays, and some of our guys tonight were amped up and like we're on the ground. We're never on the ground at practice this much, and we're on the ground tonight. So just brought him in and just said, don't do different things because there's people here. Just do what we do on the practice field out here. And that's a important message for young teams, man.
It's safe to say Coach Rule very excited to get the pads on players so that they can lay a couple, light hits on each other. And if someone falls awkwardly on the ground, at least they have some padding. Sam Darnold up and down so far in this training camp. There is the much publicized Jeremy Chinn interception off a deflected pass from Darnold intended for DJ Moore that Jeremy Chinn picked up. But apparently after that, Darnold got more into the rhythm. He started finding his game eyes, game arm as well. More so dink and dunk stuff, a couple long balls, according to Joe Person again for The Athletic. He said that he led Robbie Anderson out of bounds a couple of times, a couple overshoots there. Nice connections with DJ Moore. You're always going to have a nice connection with Christian McCaffrey because he's not going to do too many long routes, maybe a wheel route. But Sam Darnold up and down, which just reading that, kind of disappointing. If you want him to be not in mid-season form, but at least not making dumb mistakes, you want to make sure that he is confident with his reads as well. But when I just see the phrase up and down, I feel like that, even though it's training camp, it's still early, it could be a bit of a preview of what he could be bringing Panther fans this season. Up and down performances. I think we would much rather just consistent. If you're going to be like a 6.5, 7 out of 10, just stick that. We don't want you to be a 9 and then a 4 and then a 5 and an 8.5 and then a 3. Just be consistent. So just reading up and down makes me a little worried initially. But again, it's just the first 5 days of training camp. Let's see if he gets better. And again, as I mentioned in the last Panthers post, which you should definitely check out, things will really start making sense more so when they have those joint practices against Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens. But let's hear what Sam Darnold had to say. He spoke with NFL Network. This is what he had to say about joining the new team.
I'm so glad to be here. The city of Charlotte, my teammates, my coaches. There's nothing wrong with new beginnings. And, I'm excited for this opportunity and can't wait for the season to get started.
Of course, Darnold liking the fact that he has a fresh start with an offense that is, according to Teddy Bridgewater, apparently, that someone is always going to be open in the Joe Brady offense. Not everyone's going to be covered. There's always going to be an open receiver. So Sam Darnold just needs to find them. And speaking of, this is what Darnold had to say about all the new weapons he has with this team.
Our skill guys are top notch, some of the best in the game, and then our line too. I mean, our line has been working their butts off since I've been with them in OTAs. So it's been great just to come out here and work every single day, and that's just what we're going to do. We're just going to keep getting better every day, and we'll be in a good spot by the time the season starts.
One of the weapons that are arguably going to be the most important for Sam Darnold is running back Christian McCaffrey. Now, they talked about his injury-plagued season last year and what that taught him. Here's what we had to say about that.
There's definitely some positives you can take from just taking a step back and looking at the game from another vantage point, and just doing the best I can to stay mentally in it, and it also gives you just another appreciation for the game, when you can't play. So I'm just fired up to be back here playing football, healthy, ready to roll.
Stop asking him about being injured last year, because if anybody played any collision or contact sports, if you start thinking about being injured, guess what? You're going to get injured. So let's just focus on this year. And with that, they asked Christian McCaffrey, what's it like just to have training camp? Because last year, as we remember, everything was just personalized at your home. There was no training camp like the way it is this year. So here's what Christian had to say about that.
I think it's just good for a young team to, show up somewhere where it's hot. It's not it's a great area, obviously, but we're all put in dorms. And, you're forced to be around one another, and that's the kind of stuff that helps win games. Guys that like to be around each other, and, you get to know your teammates at another level. So when you come out on the field, you're playing for one another.
You all struggle together, you build that bond, and that's the kind of talk you want to hear from one of your biggest leaders on the team. All right, let's talk about some newer guys on the team, like brand new. This is their very first professional training camp with an NFL team, and no one is making more noise right now and is being written about more than second-round pick, first offensive player taken in a year and a half for the Carolina Panthers in Terrace Marshall out of LSU.
He reminds me of like young Demaryius Thomas. That's what he kind of like reminds me of, like, because I played with Demaryius. And like seeing his film, like they like kind of like similar to each other.
Oh, Terrace is a guy who he can do it all. You line him up inside, line him up outside. He's I like to call him a go-getter guy because he's gonna go find the ball and he's gonna catch everything. He can get open. He's really as advertised.
First, Terrace Marshall kind of correcting the media and everybody else on his dimensions. According to the Panthers, he's around 6'2", 200 pounds. But again, Joe Person, I feel like I should be his secretary. Joe Person asked him, how big are you really? Because he did write about him previously, comparing him to Michael Irvin. Not just because he wears number 88, but just his sheer stature. And Terrace corrected him and everybody else. He's not actually 6'2", 200. He's more like 6'3", 6'4", 210 pounds. That's a gigantic man. And I'm not saying I already said this, but in that last episode, I know it didn't get the most views, but you should probably check it out because I said about this wide receiver room, this reminds me of the Dark Knight when the Joker went to that pool hall and he had 3 dudes, 1 pool stick, broken in half, only 1 or 2 people coming out of there alive. And that's exactly what's going to happen with this wide receiver group. Steve Smith said himself.
I think he is going to surprise some people, not as fans, but some people that are actually lined up ahead of him. What we call this? That young man is going to steal some folks' jobs.
His progression might actually be a bit quicker than a guy like DJ Moore's or Curtis Samuel's because he has a familiar face and a familiar system through Joe Brady.
I feel like not only it benefited me, but it benefited everybody, playing alongside of me. It's just everybody eats. That's the mentality from Joe Brady. He liked to feed everybody the ball and make sure everybody getting their share. Yeah, most def coming in, everything similarly from LSU. Coming in, it's made my process a little bit easier. Me picking up on things way a lot faster, than others. So, I can say it's a little bit of an advantage.
And you got to like this as well when they asked Terrace Marshall, who else in the wide receiver room is he really impressed by? And he talked about the one guy who I've been saying is going to be a fan favorite, Steve Smith 2.0, and that is Shai Smith.
It's Shai Smith. He's definitely been doing great. Just everybody, Kirkwood, Brandon Zylstra, everybody, that's in the receiver room, everybody's producing, doing well.
All right, well, speaking of the South Carolina Gamecock, let's hear from Shai Smith and what it's been like with the first couple of days of the Carolina Panthers.
The experience is good. I'm just coming out, learning day by day, taking it day by day, just trying to get better. Like you said, I grew up around here, probably like 20 minutes from here, so it feels awesome to be close to home.
Shai Smith guy from just 20 minutes away from Spartanburg, South Carolina, to be signing up for the home team and putting on the helmet and playing in front of friends and family. That must be so cool. And to deal with that pressure, that not a lot of the other players on that team, unless they're from the area, are dealing with something like that. With the Olympics this year, it's all about pressure, pressure, pressure. How do you deal with pressure? And Shai Smith is dealing with some different kind of pressure. He's the hometown guy, like a truly hometown guy. He didn't just go to university in the state. He is born and raised in the state as well. For him to deal with that kind of pressure is pretty impressive. And of course, if you're a lower draft pick like he is, no disrespect to any of his skills, they asked him who in the wide receiver room, again, that crowded, super talented wide receiver room, is he gravitating towards right now?
Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. I mean, them guys come out every day and compete. They give it they all every day, and I'm just taking little steps from them and learning behind them.
And besides DJ Moore, who is another one of the leaders on the team, who is going to be freaking paid by the Panthers at some point, either this season or next, but also Robbie Anderson, someone who has kind of surprised me, not only on his production on the field, but also himself as a leader as well. Not only has he got an amazing grill. How does that work? And those in the grill community, if you got a grill, let me know in the comment community. When you eat, do you take it out? Can you take it out? Does it just stay on? Do you use a different kind of toothbrush? But I will say, Shai Smith got the braces. That's a different kind of grill. Shout out to Straight Teeth. But maybe he can upgrade at some point later on in his career once he gets paid himself, get that Robbie Anderson grill. Maybe he's talking to him about that as well in the wide receiver room, not just about routes. But speaking about routes, Robbie Anderson may have already had the catch of training camp. Route-wise, because Robbie Anderson almost put that DB in a blender. He caught that over-the-shoulder overthrown pass, I think it was by Will Greer, with no gloves. Zero glove action. No ticky-tack, no stick-em.
I ain't gonna lie, when he threw it, for a split second, I thought I wasn't gonna get it because it had a lot of air on this, but I just trusted and, just came down with it and threw one hand, I grabbed it.
Let's flip to the defensive side. Now, these interviews were done a couple days before the public training camp on Saturday night. Let's talk to Dante Jackson. And same way with Christian McCaffrey. He didn't have the greatest year last year in terms of health-wise. They asked him, how's that turf toe doing?
Extensive treatment all offseason just to make sure I came in here without any problems. Our training staff did a great job of accommodating me with like special foot soles and stuff like that. Adidas actually did a lot of work with getting me some good cleats for this season, so I wouldn't have anything to worry about. So it feels great.
So he's still getting treatment on that. Also, shout out to orthotics and custom-made shoes. I've been wearing the wrong shoe for my entire life. I wear around size 11, just walking around. But when I work out, I wear about a half a size to a size down, 10 and a half, 10. And I always wondered, why is my feet always in pain after running or jumping and stuff like that? Then I realized I did like an electric foot measure. My actual foot size is 11 and a half. And so jumping around, my feet are all cramped in these tiny shoes. I've now realized I probably should just be working out in size 11, 11 and a half. So Dante, I feel your pain. Dante also weighed in on a new nickname that's been floating around camp in the last couple of days, and it's Baby LeBron. Now, if you didn't already know about this, who do you think on the Panthers would be referred to as Baby LeBron? Now, we already talked about it. Terrace Marshall Jr. is around 6'4", 210 pounds. It could be someone like him. But Derek Brown seems to be a guy who is pretty smart. And LeBron is the first active NBA player to be a billionaire. I can see Derek Brown being a very good businessman while he's still playing in the NFL. But no, it is not either of those guys. We're going to stay on the defensive side. It's Jeremy Chin.
Why? Because he's just a physical guy. We back on Chin, right?
Yes.
Okay. He's just a physical freak, man, and he works and he takes care of his body, and he's just out there just trying to do things that nobody else has seen before. So he's definitely a guy who that name is really fitting for.
Jeremy Chin, not exactly LeBron James at 6'6". I think he's like 260. Jeremy Chin's around 6'3", 220. And if it's anything based on the Panthers staff and how they're doing measurements for the players, he's most likely 6'4", 235. But Dante Jackson saying he's got that Adonis body. He's an absolute freak, which is why he plays linebacker and safety. Going to be sticking in the back end now, trying to keep him healthy for a long and prosperous career. But Dante Jackson singing the praises of Jeremy Chin. Also very excited to see how the Panthers do against an opposition that isn't on their team in the Indianapolis Colts. That's the first joint practice. But they're going to be playing a team at this point without the starting quarterback that they thought they were going to have. They're going to have a starting quarterback. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be Carson Wentz. At last check, he has a foot injury. He is out indefinitely, a.k.a. a long time. And as we saw with Dante Jackson, a toe can keep you out for a while. Let's see what a foot injury does. So at this point, their starting quarterback is Jason. I have to look him up. Jacob Eason at the University of Washington, or Sam Erlinger out of Texas. So it's going to be another nice little warm-up to the NFL for some of the DBs, specifically rookies like J.C. Horn, because those guys are either rookies themselves or just not that great. And I'm also talking as a fan of a team whose quarterback is Sam Darnold right now. Breathe. Very excited about next week. Really excited about that next video. Let me know in the comments below who you're excited to see step up in the next couple days in training camp. Who's impressed you so far? Let me know. Again, if you're new, like, subscribe, spread the word. See you next week.